Oh, Travis,
Mm-hmm.
I am so tired. This demon baby, I don't know if you know this, but I recently gave birth to this demon baby, and it is just taking up all my time.
How did I miss that?
It was a whole thing, like, apparently demon baby has accelerated childbirth, and, there's this whole thing. And I'm so tired. I need to find people with like-minded demon baby parents as well. Would you know any place I could go to that with people with any expertise on the demon baby form or anything like that?
I think anything I would say would be either racist or prejudiced, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Travis going for the smart silence of the show there. But you know where I can go? I bet you you would know about demon babies. It's the Stand Against Evil fan club. I bet you I could go to them and they'd know where I can get my demon childcare. Maybe, I can drop it off at some sort of demon, kids place.
You had to fireproof it first.
I mean, we could drop it off at some sort of demons kids playground, like, evil, ball pit.
Or just
regular
Chuck E.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm sure that's great. And they also have, some just great people over there that share their love for Stand Against Evil on a constant basis. And they have, trivia, that they go to. Maybe I can get some there where they have some trivia about demon babies and stuff, and just learn my way over there. And they do that sort of thing on the weekends and are just a great place to hang out. So you can find that there on Stand Against Evil fans at Twitter. They're at Stand Against Evil fans, or the at Stand Against Evil fan club on Facebook. With that, I'm gonna put this demon baby down. Yes, I'll let you taste Travis later.
No, what?
Yeah. It's good. It's fine. He likes to suck other people's thumbs, just not while they're attached. It's fine. But anyway, we should get on with the show. And welcome to Pod Against Evil. I really need some sort of evil laugh at the end there. I'm going to see what I can't do about
I'm sure we can find something.
I don't know.
You need the Vincent Price cackle going on.
Yes, right during the thriller part of it. Yeah. I need that. But who's talking about Evie, creepy, maniacal lass? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow Stand Against Evil correspondent,
Travis,
the god of the pod himself, and of course, a new special guest, our first-timer for Pod Against Evil, although he's been nice enough to grace us with his presence on some of our previous projects, like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast and Netflix and Kill, Grant Davis. Say hi, Grant.
Hello. Hi, guys.
We should put a caveat here. Grant is only allowed on as long as he's a peer of his free will.
As long as, Grant, you are accepting to be on this podcast of your own free will, right?
Yeah, when you hear something like that, of course you know something shady's going on.
It's just not a great caveat. It's like, uh-oh.
It's like what they have at the beginning of like an Apple contract. You're like, sure, I accept whatever. I want to read the whole thing. Free will, whatever.
I just need to get to my apps, God damn it. But yes, Grant is actually one of the TV dudes over at the TV Dudes podcast. And I wanted to bring Grant on because he seems to specialize lately in being a first-timer to a lot of TV shows. You were on an episode of Les Weiler's podcast, The Good Die Young, for a Middleman episode, I believe, correct?
I was. Yeah, I'm... It's very curious to me. I don't know why it happens, but I seem to be brought on to things as the noob, as the fresh perspective for, I guess, you guys. And I don't know how it always works because, I imagine with this show being in its second season, and we're talking about the 6th episode, things have evolved at this point, and you guys are just familiar with it. You're familiar with the characters. I don't know what's going on.
I actually like it that you're also part of the new Star Trek Discovery podcast, even though you haven't watched basically any Star Trek before. So
right.
You got a great reputation as a TV virgin. And I'm really glad we got
a resume.
I'm glad we got to pop your cherry on Stand Against Evil.
Oh wow!
So
you guys need to buy me a drink.
No, I mean, we will have to buy you a drink, but I have to babysit later for another demon baby, so I got to keep a cool, focused head. Because yes, we are talking about season 2, episode 6. It has a great name. It's the mark of. Damn it! it has this great name, and I was just looking at it. Hex Marks the Tot. That's right. Because all Stand Against Evil titles are amazing puns. But I'm just going to read the brief IMDb description of this episode like I usually do. Mm-hmm. So the IMDb one for this one is very short. It just says, Denise takes a nanny job for a demon baby who feeds off of affection. Kevin gets beaten up by a baby. That's it. It feels like that last sentence wasn't really even that necessary, but like kind of important. Like that's the main takeaway of the show. Stan and Evie don't even get mentioned in the IMDb summary of this episode.
Although let's have a little caveat here. It's a good thing that the demon baby feeds off affection Denise gives rather than affection Denise has gotten, or the poor thing would starve.
Mm-hmm. Aww.
So
I'm getting a better sense of this Denise character.
There you go.
Yes. So, Grant, this of course is your first episode ever of Stand Against Evil. I'm very curious. What were your overall impressions of the show and of this episode in particular?
Well, I was curious if this episode is a little bit of a one-off. A, because you recommended this particular episode for me and didn't require I see anything else prior to. But B, because, I don't know, part of it felt like this sort of self-contained story about this demon baby, like an X-Files episode, I guess, in a way.
Yes, yeah.
It was kind of cute and playful, but I also feel like there's a world that's been built here and an establishment of the characters and their dynamic that was a little bit peculiar for me, being fresh to the show. So I was watching this, and some of the jokes weren't necessarily resonating with me in a way that I thought maybe they were intended to. I don't know. It felt a little weird.
The season 2 episodes have been a lot more, they're still standalone in a way. Season 1 was much more X-Files, Buffy, Monster of the Week. And season 2 has had a little bit more crossover. There's that segment in this episode where Stan talks about the guy they're looking for. I forget his name, but like where he's looking in that book, and that's kind of like mythos heavy. So season 2 has been a little bit more world buildy like that.
You say standalone, but I say Stan alone.
Grant,
he said it, not me.
You belong here. I was worried about having you on, being a fresh face, but obviously from that line alone, I have made an unbelievably correct decision.
I'm cutting my teeth, my demon teeth on this episode.
But yeah, so this episode is about a demon baby, and we see that,
you do,
and we see that in the opener. I don't know, what time period would you say the opener is set in? Is it the 80s? It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah,
I mean, it's precisely 1986.
I mean, it could be just the Chiron, and then, of course, the red leather jacket that the boyfriend coming to the door wears, or the fact that if it wasn't clear enough there, he says, like, oh, I rented Lone Wolf McQuaid and Solar Babies. and I just wanted to go to the show, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's the 80s.
A title card would have been more succinct,
Holy
but
crap.
fine.
Yeah, so, I love those big, thick VHSs that he had.
Yes. Oh my god, I remember those. You remember those from when you were a kid when you go to a rental store and they give you those big fucking, like, plastic boxes? How they would keep the VHSs in them, like, away from the edges. They treat the VHSs like they were this delicate, long-lost artifact. Like, yeah. And just like, we have to make sure we encase these VHSs in titanium because VHSs must last forever. We will never.
It was still going to be scratched all over, and you're going to miss like 3 minutes that were like plot heavy in any VHS you rented.
Yeah, pretty much.
And no one ever rewound those VHS tapes anyway. They always put Be Kind Rewind, but no one ever did it.
And you always hear that horrible screeching noise at the end.
But yeah, the babysitter, or was it the mom? I forget what the
It was the
setup.
mom.
Yeah, it was the mom, right?
The mom.
And she lets in our friend, I think Chaz was his name.
Chaz.
Because, again, the 80s. So he lets her, but before he comes in, she states, "Oh, are you coming in of your own free will?" And yeah, that is a very creepy line. I don't think if I ever heard that in real life, I I would be very upset. I would be like, I don't want to go anywhere with you. That's a really weird caveat.
It's a pretty big red flag. Yeah.
Seems to be someone only ever says that when it's a requirement for some sort of spell. So thanks, but no thanks.
I'm just gonna leave back to the video store. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got to mention something real quick because I know this is an audio podcast, but the guy Chaz in this episode, if you took less and gave him a Jerry curl and a mustache, the dude looks just like him.
Holy shit.
I kept looking at him, I'm like, is that Les with a mustache? What's going on here? Did Les grow hair? For those of you not visually inclined, our other regular co-host for this show, Les Weiler, I think that might be. Oh my god! I kind of want to go look through any high school pictures Les has. It was so perfect.
I am very curious if that's what the look is based on. That's great. Anyway, does not work out for Chaz. He gets drawn in, and I did see this before he gets murdered viciously by the infant. I did see this poster in the background for something called Space Knife.
Yeah,
and the only reason it catches my interest is that isn't that the poster from Tron? Like
it looked kind of like Tron-ish with the triangular lines directing toward this guy in the center. But I think, he had an astronaut helmet on, too.
Mm-hmm. I looked it up. Apparently, a Space Knife is not a movie that exists. So, just made up for the show. Very cool. I always like the little, alternate universes. What could Space Knife be about? I'm, really curious about that.
I want to see this movie now.
I really want to, is it about knives that are going to space? Or is it about knives that are found in space? What is the connection? But anyway, after that, we get our opening title screen. Always fun.
I just want to say, I kind of laughed when the baby first showed up, because we just recently had to watch the movie Batman Returns. And all I could think of in that scene was like, oh, look, it's the Penguin's twin.
Oh, okay.
It's an unsightly baby, and you're like, oh, already.
It's like, is it going to kill a cat now? What's the deal here?
No,
did you see when they killed... Oh, sorry. Did you see when they killed Chaz? An ear flops onto the window?
Yeah. It's a very bloody and gruesome death, apparently. And we after the opening, we open to a outside scene. More of those in season 2. Grant, you probably don't know this, but season 1 was very, very insular, to where it was hard to tell if there were any other people in Willard's Mill.
If you saw somebody you didn't know, they were the villain.
Yeah, so having these outside shots has been pretty cool for season 2 to make it breathe a little bit more, make it seem like Willard's Mill is an actual place.
Maybe they got an expanded budget, huh? So they can go outside.
Yeah, I'm positive that the budget got at least a little bit more. Maybe not for the CG, but the budget definitely went toward hiring some extras for some background sequences. It cuts to Denise and Evie. They're talking about babies. Well, at first they're talking about oh, how cute are they? They're adorable. But it turns out that Janet is talking, or I should say Evie, played by Janet Varney, is talking about the woman and her baby, and Deborah Baker Jr. playing Denise is talking about her eggs. Because she just hates to destroy this beautiful breakfast.
Because they're so happy. Not as happy as donuts, but very happy.
And then she goes on about this thing of donuts where it's like an Ouroboros snake, is that they just keep on going around and around and around.
I think donuts are the most happy food. I mean, they're so cute. They never end. They just keep going around and around and around.
Yeah, so Denise is a very special, fun character. I was wondering what your initial impressions of her were, Grant, since this is your first time seeing her.
I was really confused about the relationship between Evie and Denise because, well, I mean, I didn't really understand the whole concept of the show in general. I was like, okay, so McGinley's character was the old sheriff, I'm guessing, and Evie is the new sheriff that's taking over, and he has to kind of help her, teach her the reins of fighting demons that are all over this town. And then based on the intro credits, I'm guessing that the sheriff in particular has always been a target of evil demons within this town. They're constantly just trying to kill the law, whoever's unlucky enough to be the sheriff. Is that right?
It's not far off.
No, that's you almost nailed it, Grant. Is that just there's one element? One of the original sheriffs of Willard's Mill burned a bunch of witches. Or supposed witches, and then got cursed. And so the sheriff's position has always been cursed ever henceforth. So, yeah,
and Stan himself isn't the one that actually fought the demons prior to this. It was actually his wife, who was Buffy.
Yeah, it's basically his wife was basically Buffy and protected him. He was the only reason he survived.
Right.
And so now, since Stan's wife is gone, Stan has to help out Evie survive through the new sheriff's position as well.
So is he kind of the new Buffy that's like helping her slay demons, I guess?
Man, that'd give him a lot more credit.
Yeah.
Stan is a very interesting character in which that he almost never wants to actually get involved in the plot. I like to call this show that it's only called Stan Against Evil because that's easier to make into a pun than Evie. Evie is basically our main character, if anyone is the main character.
So it's Stan against action.
Stan against action, yes. He is very adverse. He likes sitting in his chair. There's a line later that I really liked where he's like, sorry, my ass and my chair have a play date planned.
Well, yeah, getting back to your initial question, the dynamic between Evie and Denise was something I was trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, she's kind of like this friend, but also this motherly figure, and it started making me question how old the Denise character is, because there's this very infantilizing comments made about her, either in conversation with her or about her later when Evie's talking to Stan. I was like, is she supposed to be like 12 years old, but she's just like, the joke is that she's played by a much older actress? I wasn't sure.
It's hard to tell.
No, Grant, that's basically the joke, is that, yeah, she's a grown woman that can't take care of herself.
Okay.
Let alone a baby.
That's very much where Deborah Baker Jr.'s portrayal is at. I'd like to think of it, if you just were to listen to the show, or if you were to, maybe read the script, you would think the Denise character was like 12 to 14 years old. Like,
yeah,
it's just
it's this Arrested Development thing with her. Okay, well, it was like the conversation was going in this kind of humorous direction where they're talking about hooking her up with a better guy, getting Denise someone else to date. And I was like, okay, so is this going to be an episode where Evie really tries to get her to break free of being interested in a bunch of morticians and gravediggers?
I don't know if I want to date outside the industry.
Yeah, okay, that was my other question. I'm like, what industry is she referring to there? Because I thought, okay, that must mean that she has some sort of employment in...
No.
And something with death?
I think what now I have to analyze what Denise is thinking. I think what Denise means is that she is so often involved in people getting killed, and she keeps getting involved in. They keep digging up grave sites too. That's how they keep running into Kevin. Mm-hmm. That I think that she thinks she's part of that industry now.
Gotcha.
So
okay, that makes sense then.
But who knows with her?
Right.
But yeah, they're talking about Kevin and like,
yeah, no, Kevin is an option.
Evie is not on Kevin's side apparently.
Yeah, well, I think once we see Kevin, we can kind of get it, right? Which was
a little bit.
It was great for me because I thought that was a good way for me, being unfamiliar with the Kevin character, for them to introduce him in the plot, I guess, ahead of time. But then, it also struck me as a little bit peculiar that they're talking about getting her a date, and then Evie just stands up and goes and gets her a job as a babysitter instead. I'm like, wait, what? What happened there with getting her a job? Okay.
Well, because the initial conversation was like, oh, you would wouldn't you love to have a baby around or date or something? And it was kind of like they evolved that conversation into her dating life, and then Evie goes over to
kind of fast tracks it back.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I thought we were talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
But.
And all I can say is, thank God that Denise doesn't want children. Thank God.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know what Evie's thinking on that part. Like, she should not, like, Denise should not be in charge of anybody.
She shouldn't be in charge of herself.
No, she's definitely not in charge of herself. So Denise finally eats her eggs, and is, well, at least you died doing what you love, being eggs, in her Denise way.
And while in the background, the mother is just like,
she's
bowing
very
at
yeah, in the
Evie's
background,
feet.
the mother is so excited. She's hugging Evie. She is elated to have a babysitter.
Which, maybe it's just a fussy baby and she hasn't had a lot of time to sleep. It's not a big deal, right?
I worked in the childcare industry. I've seen reactions like that.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, maybe, eyebrow raising, but not outright alarming. What is alarming is when the mom is talking to Denise. It's like, well, you are doing this your own free will, right? Well, my friend is kind of forcing me. Great, doesn't matter, close enough. What does he eat? Oh, plums and I think carrots or, regular baby stuff, like
Anything mashed.
yeah, like it really does feel like the mom is like, oh, what do babies eat? This sort of stuff. Also the name of the baby is Aiden? No, wait, it's Braden. No, wait, it's Aiden Braden. Braden is its middle name.
Aiden Braden.
And I immediately went, fucking white people. It's just like that. It's so like Aiden Braden. I'm like, oh man, if I couldn't hate this baby enough.
I mean, it could be worse. It could have been two babies, one named Aiden, one named Braden.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that would have been a great ending twist too. I was like, oh shit, they were two babies the whole time.
Okay, maybe this is jumping the gun here with this question, but was it your impression that this is the same baby from 1986, and what has happened has been there's the curse of whoever has been like this baby latches onto, and these women have to keep passing off this baby to another person as the caregiver, or was it that like a demon keeps infecting different babies?
You see, that was interesting to me too, because I think the inference we're supposed to get from later when they look up the demon is that, oh, a demon usually takes the form of a baby, and that was my initial impression.
Two different babies, but they're just kind of stuck with a baby.
Yeah, and I think it just moves from one caretaker to the next caretaker, whoever wants to pass it off, or whenever it kills people.
So at the end, they don't murder a baby that was infected with a demon.
So, normally they actually do a little more research of like, oh man, all the people who cared for this, like in another episode it would have been more like, oh, look at all the people that cared for this baby, they ended up dead or under mysterious circumstances disappeared
right.
or something. This one, it was just a quick reference later to the book, and that was it. So it's kind of assuming on us, the audience, to kind of fill in the blanks a lot. Which is, I guess it's fine, although I guess it does, like, maybe they should have made it a little more clear that we weren't murdering a baby at the end of it.
I think it's fine.
It's a 30-minute comedy or a horror comedy. I feel like, it's okay.
Yeah, we got the gist of it. It's fine. Anyway, what's Stan doing through all of this? Stan hasn't even shown up in his own episode.
Well, because Denise isn't there, apparently not much.
Yeah, well, he's looking up Gerard Duquette, which is a guy we found out about a couple episodes ago when researching a way to possibly save his wife. And this is a guy he needs to find in order to travel back in time with a set of demon eyeballs. And at this point, this is the only scene where I'm like, oh, Grant's going to be really confused.
No kidding. Like, this is my first introduction to the Stan character. My familiarity with McGinley is clearly from Scrubs and maybe even Office Space. So to see the character he's playing here, the bizarre, gravelly affectation he's doing with his voice, and his kind of bumbling spaciness, but also just kind of hostile, which, the hostility's familiar. But I don't know, he kept doing these like football referee references and then like not saying Hakuna Matata properly. And I'm like, I don't get these jokes. If they, like, I don't know if this is like a running joke from other episodes, but like, what is going on with this character? Because it's throwing me off.
So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna agree with you, Grant, here. Stan is kind of on autopilot this episode.
Yeah, he's barely in it.
Stan, he's been getting a little bit better as the seasons go on. The joke with Stan is that he's a horribly sexist, kind of racist, old curmudgeon. And normally he goes on like huge long rants that are basically out of a Scrubs manual. And it's basically so that the writers can give him crazy stuff to say, and then McGinley will deliver it in the only way McGinley can, which is amazing. I wasn't super impressed with Stan this episode.
No,
I gotta say,
he doesn't do much.
He doesn't really have a big speech. Normally, he has one big like, "Oh my god, that was an hilarious rant" that he gives, or some sort of big reference like Starsky and Hutch are gay, or some sort of thing that just really cracks me up out of nowhere. This one, it was basically just Grant is right. It's basically football metaphor. He keeps doing the referee thing to Evie, just like personal foul, or and does the whistle thing. So yeah, Stan is. It's not like Stan is still Stan, but it's just not a big moments for him in this episode.
Is the Stan character a lot more like present in in other episodes of the show? Because it sounded like you guys were saying like this is the more like a Janet Varney Evie vehicle. This show.
What's interesting about this show is that how much Stan is in the background. Usually Stan is involved in the episode heavily, but reluctantly. Mm-hmm. Like he always is dragged in. He's always trying to find an excuse not to be involved, and Evie keeps dragging him into it, or some sort of event drags him into it. And Evie kind of drives the plot forward. This one, it's basically he just kind of... He's not really dragged to it up too much till the end, or he's just bitching about Denise not being there. So this is kind of an atypical episode where he's still around, even though he has every excuse not to be around.
Right. Like he'd actually, I think it would be almost better if he just sat home and then Eve went back and were like, "What were you doing all day?" "Oh, absolutely nothing. It was wonderful."
Yeah. But he's upset because he's missing Denise making ice for him for his lemonade. It's like now it's just warm lemon water.
Yeah, he seemed kind of like a shitty dude. Is he Denise's father?
Yeah. Yes, he's Denise's dad, and okay. He's not the best. And
pretty terrible.
I got that impression.
There's a reason Denise is the way she is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's talking about conferring with Gerard Duquette. He wants to create a seance, nothing too fruity, which also Stan kind of a homophobe. I swear it's a little more fun to watch Stan if you get to know him a little bit better. And yeah, see, Evie comes in.
I got Denise a job.
I was wondering where she was. The ice in my lemonade, it melted about 45 minutes ago, and now it's just warm lemon water.
So,
I was looking for Denise to come and get me some more, but you went ahead and got her a job.
Wow. That's so funny. I actually thought that you would be proud of her.
Personal foul. Don't you believe it? You wanted me to be proud of you because you got her a job, but I'm not because my lemonade is warm.
It was kind of like this reverse psychology. Like, did you think that was accurate? Was Evie looking for Stan's appraisal?
I don't think anyone looks for Stan's appraisal.
I don't know. Like that was an interesting thing I thought they brought up, but I wasn't sure if it was true or not. Because Evie never gives me the impression in any other episode that she's looking for Stan's approval. But then again, we have seen Evie be a little insecure and struggle with some self-esteem issues sometimes.
Are they, this is another sign of my ignorance of the show, but do you see that they're constantly like squabbling and at odds and they're trying to like one-up each other in a way?
Yeah, they are kind of at odds because Evie is really trying hard to be good at her new sheriff's position and get respect around the town. And it's one of those small towns where it's like a woman being a sheriff is still a huge fucking deal. And Stan is not helping her in any way. and she gets really frustrated with him at all points. So yeah, their dynamic is a frustrated friendship, basically.
Well, that, and she actually wants to, solve the cases that involve demons, and Stan's like, no, I'm going to do everything to stop that.
Right. So I wonder if it's more not so much as she's looking for his approval, or that she's maybe just wanting to like show him up, like, look, I'm able to take care of Denise, your daughter, and actually help guide her in a better way than you are, because you're kind of a good for nothing schlub.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense with the relationship. That Evie is trying to one up him, like, look at how much of a better parent I am than you, getting Denise a job and stuff. Yeah, you know what? That tracks for me a lot, actually. I bet you that's actually what's going on with Evie.
Because Evie has a kid, or did she lose a kid as well?
She has a kid.
She has a kid. We basically
never see it.
never see it. I think we switched actors on the kid like 3 times.
Okay. Yeah.
It's impossible for me to tell, because every time we bring up the kid, I always go, oh shit, she has a kid. I forgot. And yeah, so we finally get to meet Kevin in this episode, or we've seen him before, but Grant gets to meet Kevin. And I was wondering, Grant, did you know who Kevin is played by?
Yeah, it's Dana Gould, who also is the creator.
He's the creator and writer.
Him. Yeah,
and he's basically who they sell the show on. So I love that this weird background character is finally getting some main screen time in season 2. And the fact that it is Dana Gould is just very funny to me. That he's the creepiest, kind of most pathetic character on the show. And he comes up to Denise while she's riding. She's pushing this. Yeah, she's pushing the baby in the carriage. And what does he say? He says something really weird.
Denise, it's me, Kevin.
Yeah, I know. I recognize you by your face.
Oh right, I was thinking we were on the phone.
Yeah. And it's like, what? And he asks, is that your baby? She says no.
What do you do? You're not dating a baby.
Gross, no, I'm babysitting.
Oh, cool.
And she's like, no.
They're perfect for each other. They really are.
Yeah, they are. We really need them to get together already, because obviously they're the only ones for one another.
Now, Kevin is the main guy that she was saying she was actually interested in the beginning, right?
Yes, she is into Kevin. That's her main squeeze right now.
Yeah. The reactions between them are pretty great.
I love these two together. I also love that Kevin cannot get his backstory out whatsoever. He tries like twice this episode, and we've had it a couple other episodes before too, where he's tried to get some of his backstory out as a character, and no one ever lets him finish.
Because no one cares.
Years ago, I needed money, so I volunteered to be a part of this study. The military was testing the effect of rum drinks on the sleep-deprived. The next thing you know, I'm on a bus to some
Hey, Kevin, is this going to take a long time? Because I got places to go.
No. The thing is, I was a human guinea pig in a terrible experiment. And I spent a lot of time around some really bad people, and I'm telling you, there is something very bad about that baby.
Which when we looked at the baby, its eyes were all like glazed over black, and it was looking really evil anyway.
That
Playing
was
with its
awesome.
evil rattle.
A great subtle move there. And yeah. So what's the next scene? Oh yes.
Well, then they part, and I just love it because
Kevin, yes, how to forget about this part.
Sort of kind of hits on Denise, and she does not react quite well to it, I guess.
I only tell you this because I care about you, in which Denise responds,
What is happening to my body? Shut your mouth! I gotta go, bye.
I don't know what the deal is with that. It's very funny how Denise and Kevin are so awkward with another that their bodies react like bodily to how awkward they are. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it just strikes me as, she has never been in a relationship, and she's never actually felt someone act attracted toward her, and so she doesn't know how to really deal with it. So she got a little bit overwhelmed, and I guess. It's cute. It was a cute scene.
And she's just getting the nerd sweats. It happens. It happens to all of us. I really do like these two actors together. Hopefully we get some more episodes with them in later seasons. But yeah, we cut to Denise back taking care of the baby in the mom's house again. Stan shows up and brings her lunch, which I knew that I had the first thought like, oh yes, because we've established Denise cannot feed herself. That was one of the first things we established in episode 1 way back when.
Or the baby.
Denise can't feed herself, and it turns out not the baby, because the baby doesn't eat as well. I forgot what was in the lunch. Oh, that's right, 2 cans of beer.
Yep, because that's what Stan had for lunch.
Well, that's what Stan. Yeah, it's like what I had for lunch. And yeah, so Stan actually. Now this is a good moment for Stan, like where Stan actually tries to alpha dog the baby.
Yes.
So Stan does this a lot with some of the other characters that show up on the show, especially a lot of the male characters. Is that he'll alpha dog them out, like he'll berate a priest for being weak, or talk about somebody like they're a nerd, even though they're actually trying to help him out. So to see him alpha dog a baby is fucking hilarious to me.
And not even out of the usual.
He's threatening. Feels my power. Game on, little man. Oh, yeah, you feel me. Game on. Yeah. Don't point at me.
And I was just like, what the fuck?
Well, it seems like everyone recognizes that there's something off about this baby, that they all want to square up with it or throw it away.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's a not too subtle metaphor for how males react to the attention-seekingness of a baby. I mean, Stan basically lays it out later in a later scene of how like he's projecting his jealousy of the baby onto Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, he's hanging out by the house behind the bushes like a creeper.
Kind of stalking, yeah.
What the fuck was that?
I loved that scene.
That was not a good look. That's not a good look for Kevin.
He's just like staring in there, and he tries and Stan's like, "What are you doing?" And then once he tries to explain, he's like, "I don't care. I gotta go. I don't even want to listen."
Gubbo, what are you doing?
Keeping an eye on Denise.
Beg your pardon?
It's that baby she's watching. I don't trust it. Look, most people don't know this, but I spent 6 months in a black ops site in Alamogordo, New Mexico.
See you later, Gubbo.
Which I guess is like, once again, him cutting off whatever mystery backstory's going on with Kevin, but also it's just like, you're not worth me even being protective of my daughter in there.
No. Yeah, you think you're going to get the stereotypical, like, yeah, you better stop, creeping up on my daughter. Like, no, Stan could give less of a shit.
Yeah.
He was just kind of curious and then realized he didn't care and then moved on. So
also, Denise probably won't notice anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I do love how in the next scene we get to see Kevin attacked by the baby. Because he is walking around the house, and then we get the silhouette. I love the silhouette. The silhouette of this baby monster is just hilarious to me, that it's about to kill Kevin. And I was really legitimately concerned, like, no, don't kill Kevin. I like Kevin. I like one of the only characters I would actually care if they died. But he escapes his fate and goes to the sheriff's department and proceeds to try and act out what happened to him.
Yeah, what's with the charading?
I'm not sure. I guess he was so afraid that he couldn't speak at first, or he was in shock. But yeah, he tries to act it out, and everyone, including Leon Drinkwater, who did not get a lot of screen time this episode. So, in fact, I thought he would not win our Worst Person of the Episode award like he usually does. But he is reading a certain magazine. Did you catch the name of that magazine?
I did not.
He's reading it with that creeper look on his face, and it's called Female Crane Operators.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm like, nothing against female crane operators, by the way. I think you guys are fine. You're providing a great service.
Yeah, but he's definitely taking in that service.
Oh, no, that's gross.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I would again like to present our award of worst person of the episode to Leon Drinkwater.
Even in the background.
Just in the background, because as bad as Stan is this episode, I'm still like, Leon, you make me think you have women's bodies in your basement. Never change, my friend.
He also is bad at charades.
Oh, yeah, real bad.
Fight Club. Skunk Attack.
Fit.
Hot Coffee.
And then you were conducting an orchestra.
Your canoe broke.
Someone had binoculars. Okay.
Like, not... even Evie is not doing great guesses over here.
No.
But yeah, they are trying to... What was it? Like some sort of sketch artist thing they were trying to make?
Yes.
Of his attacker. And it ends up being a baby face.
I mean, we all knew what to expect in that scene, but it was still pretty amusing.
I mean, I would think that why would he have to describe it? Like, couldn't he just say, a fucking baby attacked me? Like, but yeah, this is where we get...
that still sounds crazy.
Yeah, well, this is where we get the scene where Stan projects his insecurities onto Kevin of like, you're just jealous that the baby's eating up all of Denise's time, is never around at home, making fucking lemonade ice cubes for you. And he's like, okay, surprisingly, this is not about you, Stan, which is actually interesting. It is not about Stan this episode. One of the few times that is actually true.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I really appreciate your point earlier about the parallels between the baby and Stan in that they both seem to be desperately feeding off of this like need for affection, I guess, from Denise in this case, but also they lash out in terrible ways. So he's in a way, Stan is like the demon baby, right?
Stan is the giant baby.
There is not a whole lot different about the relationship between Stan and Denise and the baby. What I like about Stan too is that he pretends not to care about anything or anyone, but if he didn't, why would he run around at all and help out with any of this mysterious shenanigans? He does care, but in like one of the kind of like the most basic of ways of like, well, no, I need her around the house to do stuff for me. And, you know, like I'm sure there'll be an episode later of like, oh, he actually does care about his daughter, or he does seem to legitimately care about his wife. And he does get moments throughout the rest of the show where he gets to be truly vulnerable. But not this episode. Not really one of those here.
There's one of those things, though, that they're sitting there like, what do you mean a baby did this to you? I'm like, guys, you live in a town infested by demons. Why can't it be a baby?
Evie did say that, it's just we don't believe you. And I'm like, didn't you fight a werepony 3 episodes ago?
Yep.
Yeah. A fucking werepony.
That struck even me as odd. I was watching this, I'm like, wait, I don't know anything about this show, but I'm guessing it's like week to week crazy shit going on. Yep. At this point, why would they even be skeptical?
That always strikes me as weird in any episode, any show like, say, Supernatural or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Whenever they bring up something that's like, oh, I saw this thing and it's ridiculous, and it's like, that sounds far-fetched.
You mean like being transferred to a Scooby-Doo universe?
Yeah, and it's like, man, we gotta watch that Supernatural episode. But it always strikes me as weird when people in that universe, what strikes them is like, oh, I don't believe that. That's just hearsay. I thought that was just a myth. And it's like, how is not everything on the table? Like when you are part of that crazy of a universe. Like,
I mean, I get that they want the conflict, but I don't know. It seemed to eat up at time that and like the charades scene and a couple of these other scenes seem to just kind of slow down and eat up at the precious like 30 minutes that this show seems to have each episode. That where they could have been a little bit more exploratory with the mythology, I guess, of this demon baby and how that might either parallel the Stan character or play into the bigger picture of what's going on with all these people in this town.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually a Stan Against Evil's episode will be really rapid fire and fast with its plot. Because it only has the 23 minutes to like get shit done and really get its point across. So I do agree that this one does take a little bit with its... I mean, there's not a lot here other than the basic setup of Demon Baby. There's not...
Oh, that's it?
There's just not a whole lot else happening. I mean, even in the Werepony episode, there was the whole Evie's, ex-husband showed up.
Right.
There was the whole dating a new guy, and then the family aspect of that. I mean, even in the Girls' Night Out episode, there was the whole dating angle that they took it on, and the trickster god thing with Jeffrey Combs, and then Stan goes on a spirit journey. There was like a secondary subplot. Mm-hmm. Like there's always at least two stories kind of going on, and this one it is straight up, just straightforward, one just a plot basically the entire time. I did like this next scene here too, where Stan almost has a nice moment with Denise, where it's like,
who knew taking care of a baby would be so much work?
Now remember, honey, not all babies are difficult. Some are sweet little balls of life-affirming joy.
Oh, is I like that?
Oh, God, no. You were a nightmare. Never shut up. And when you cried, whatever note that was, used to make cats throw up.
And I was just like, what a specific thing to say to your daughter to really break down her self-esteem. But yeah, this is where they kind of figure out that there's something really going on wrong with the baby. Is that Denise is like, oh no, Kevin's right. That baby is awful. That baby's a straight up asshole. Look at what he did to my arms. Because apparently the baby has super sharp nails.
Yeah. And, probably demon claws.
And she shows these unbelievably huge gouges on her arms of just like, and it's like, whoa. And it's like, yeah, that's what happened when I tried to take his rattle. And so yeah, apparently the rattle is very important to the baby. Although, I'm not sure if we ever figure out specifically why.
It's just a protection thing, I think.
I thought it was more of his anchor to this universe.
It also seemed a little bit to me that it was the source of the baby's power, that it was able to project, I guess, the object of affection for each individual and make the baby in some way appear that way to an individual so that it could feed off of them.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's where the power is coming from.
An illusion-inducing rattle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, you're also right. Like, once that rattle was destroyed, baby was destroyed. So, in some way, it was some linked system between, I guess, the baby and the item.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this could have been a lot worse of an episode, because when they read the book about the part with the infant, it's like, yeah, it takes on the shape of whatever's most endearing. I'm like, oh... So why isn't it a puppy? Well, what? No, never mind. I don't want us killing a puppy. Make it a baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, fuck babies, am I right?
Yeah, fuck babies.
Big, weird, ugly-looking baby.
So we know Travis's very controversial stance on babies versus puppies.
Got it.
Puppies every day.
So they figure out that the baby is feeding off of the affection of others, sees Kevin as a threat, and... it wants to murder him and anyone that might prevent Denise from giving him the affection that it desires. So then I love Stan's response to that, where he's like, sounds like a normal asshole baby to me.
Yep.
And so they are like, oh, wait, where did Kevin... Oh, shit, Kevin went home. He's alone. Oh, no. And... we cut back to the mom we've saw previously. I thought she skipped town immediately.
I thought she did too.
To see her back was very surprising. And then she even mentions like, "Oh, Denise is going to come back. She's going to be your new mommy." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I thought the deal was." I was very surprised she just didn't straight up leave to begin with.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. I think they already had done a good job of like showing that she was bailing. I didn't see any reason she would need to come back.
Well, it could be that you have to wait for the baby to have so much affection for one person before it's not attached to you.
Yeah, it did feel like a setup just so we could see the hole in the wall scene, which was interesting. I thought, like, the hole in the wall scene, whatever it was with the CG or the special effects, it made me thought it was like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really thought we were going to cut to a silhouette of a baby in the wall, like, the cutout, like the shape of an actual baby. for whatever reason. I don't know. It came off as weird to me.
That would have been funny too. I mean, stupid but funny.
I would, in some ways, I would have preferred it. So yeah, they come up on Kevin's place, and they see it's ransacked. And I like that Stan and Evie actually share a moment here where they're like, "Oh shit!" Like it's kind of like we've seen this all the time before. Like this is really becoming routine for them, being too late to a crime scene. And what does Stan steal in the scene?
A record or a CD or something.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out I remember what specific record that it was.
He insulted the band and then took it anyway.
Yeah, and it's like, Stan, what the hell are you doing? Oh, whatever.
I saw you take that. Who cares?
Who cares? So yeah, really stellar police work on Stan's part. But yeah, I forget how they actually track down Kevin.
Well, once they realized that the baby had run from the other house, and the baby was on the loose, Stan's like, "Oh, I remember this old place that I think that baby would have went to."
Yeah, there's only one place it could go.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's like this rundown. What do you like? A play center sort of thing?
I'm not sure what it was, to be honest. They said the name and I didn't catch it.
Well,
I think it was one of those little like kids' playrooms, kind of like a jump house or a ball pit kind of place that you. Well, I have kids, so I know you can kind of go to these places around town that were like that. But this looks like some old one from the '80s that just looks like some horror fun house with a bunch of sheets draped everywhere.
Yeah, I really like it too. Is the how the title is, of course, it's blinked out because it's light up neon, and it's I forget the actual name here. It was Slayland, is that what it says? But it was actually Tinkle's Playland.
Yeah, something like that.
Mr. Tinkle's Playland, and
that's
like
actually
originally
way creepier.
And so it comes out as Slayland, and I was like literally thinking this before Denise said it, but it was. Wow, good luckily they spelled Tinkles with a Y, otherwise that wouldn't have worked. I always got a kick out of that too, of like to the really forcing the little visual jokes like that and drawing direct reference to it. Sure, seems fun. And yeah, we come in on this very alien reminiscent scene. In which they find like instead of slime on the walls, they're like mucus covered pacifiers. We find swaddled victims. It's like, oh my god, they've been swaddled. And
it really reminded me of like Attack of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You guys ever see that where the clowns were wrapping them in cotton candy?
I haven't seen the movie, but I know what scene you're talking about. So,
oh yeah,
I really expected, Bill Bill Paxton's character to come up and like, is this gonna be another demon baby hunt, sir? Like, there's just like a whole Aliens vibe to it, where even we see Kevin later and he's like, "Kill me." And I like how Denise does not even hesitate.
No,
she's
like, ready to go.
Okay, if that's what you really want, okay, I'm gonna need to borrow one of your guns. And I'm like, he was like, no, just cut him down. Like, don't kill. And then we finally get our first real good look at the demon baby, and wow,
it's a demon baby.
It sure is a demon baby.
They have a little person wearing a baby mask and running around. It totally reminds me. I feel like they did something similar to this in that show. Was it Fear? Not Fear. It was one of those prank shows where they had a little person burst out of the wall wearing like a rat mask and like chase people around like this old abandoned science experiment place. And
was
it was
it
just
Fear
like
Effect or something?
One of those prank shows that just tries to scare people.
Scare
Factor. But looking at the baby, I'm like, that's actually kind of terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instant birth control.
Instant birth control. That's going to be the line of the episode. I did like how once it starts choking Kevin, no one like does anything. They're just like,
Kevin.
Oh shit, what do we need to do? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a baby. Like,
punt it.
hit it or do something. It's just, I mean, it's not that big. And no, they decide to cut off its affection source. So they have Denise yell at it, or like, "Oh, you need to be mean to the baby. Be mean to it."
It looks so betrayed at that moment.
Aiden, I hate you!
Hey, kid! Denise told me you're a shitty baby and a total chode.
Really interesting insult for someone to deliver to a demon baby. But again, I don't know what I would say to a demon baby to make it angry.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that.
One of my favorite things to see, though, was when the baby activates its rattle and you get to see the individual characters and what it is that is their object of affection that draws them to the baby and afraid to do anything to it. And, you know, it made sense, like, for Evie to see her 12-year-old daughter, but then to see that Stan was Gordie Howe. I was like, oh, man. Okay, that really does make me get an even better picture of the Stan character. That Gordie Howe would be the person he looks up to. And then even better was the jug band for Kevin.
Man, there's got to be a story behind that where Kevin sees a fucking his jug band from high school.
Well, there could be, but we'll never learn his backstory enough to figure it out.
I love the name of his band too. Nice Jugs. That is amazing. And Kevin and Denise get a small moment too, where they seem like they might actually be sharing a moment. Denise leads in for the kiss, and then Kevin lets her in on the name of his band, Nice Jugs, and she's like, you know, the moment's kind of it's gone. Kevin's like, did I ruin it? Yeah. And we fade out. It's credits. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't mention the ultimate demise of the baby. Actually,
yeah, we didn't talk about killing the
no,
baby.
No, yeah, we mentioned that he's summoning like their objects of affection. So Evie has to shoot the rattle out of her daughter's hands, which I'm assuming at somewhere in the script it was her shooting her daughter or something, and they were like, "Oh, that's way too fucking dark." So we'll have to shoot the rattle out of its hands. Which is, they play it off as kind of similar, like, just stay very still, baby, stay still. So it's kind of played off like that. I don't know. It was a weird scene where obviously they don't want it to make it too dark because that wouldn't be funny. But also it's weird how she's reacting when she obviously knows that it's not her daughter. I don't know. It was a weird scene.
It's still kind of a mental trick for her,
I suppose.
I just love that the rattle explodes and then the baby's fucking head explodes.
Every villain explodes in this show. That's
so
easy to get used to.
All the demons explode when they die.
Oh man!
No matter how they die, it's always an explosion. Like it's
like one could die in its sleep and it would still blow up.
I mean, we stabbed one with salad forks one time, and it also exploded. It's like it. So that's just happens when demons die. Also, the effects on that one were like we see the skull parts below the baby's head, and it's like visceral. It's really
it's a good
gooey.
Explosion.
Real fun time. Really like they upped the effects budget as well for this season 2, because that baby's head goes everywhere. And so that's basically what wrapped it on this episode. Grant, I realize now that maybe this wasn't the best starting place for you. I now realize that we are done with the episode. I'm like, damn it, maybe this wasn't the best one. But I really enjoyed your fresh perspective on it. So how did you enjoy? Does it make you want to go back and watch any more Stand Against Evil, or is this what was your overall takeaway?
I'm a bit mixed. I think there's some interesting moments going on here. It looks like they have a fun group of characters, how they're playing off of each other. I mean, without you guys like saying too much about it, I wasn't really clear on the bigger mythology, which tends to be a bigger draw for me to shows like this than the one-off episodes. But yeah, I think I get a good sense of the humor here, and it's got tone that is able to balance that line between having the scary, the horror, and then having those comedic elements. So yeah, I'm pretty interested in this. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, this is actually not one of my it's not a bad episode. I still had fun with it, but it's not one of my favorite episodes of Stand Against Evil, considering it has the draw of holy shit, it's a demon baby sort of thing.
That it's a Kevin and Denise episode.
Well, I love Kevin and Denise so much, but again, Stan isn't on point as much as he is in this episode. In some ways, I actually miss Leon Drinkwater, our deputy, because every once in a while, him coming in with just the most inappropriate comments really.
He really balances Stan out in a fucked up way.
It really helps you sympathize with Stan because it's oh well, at least he's not Leon. There's a scale there that I feel like is missing from this episode because we don't have the compare and contrast. But yeah, overall, still another fun episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Grant.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's been an absolute pleasure. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you, the TV Dudes, the Star Trek Pod, or anything else you want to pimp out?
Sure, yeah. I do a Star Trek Discovery Pod. I do a TV Dudes podcast, and I do a beer one called The Beerists. And if you want to check out any of those, you can just go find me over on Twitter at Baron Von Grant. Go ahead and click there and look at my bio, and I have links to everything.
Amazing. And that's really great. I could definitely use a beer right now, too, after watching some demon baby heads blow up. So maybe I'll do that and listen to the Beerists at the same time.
I have 2 of them, in fact, in this lunch I packed for you. So
Thank you so much, Grant. This was very considerate.
Yeah.
Grant is my second best mom. But I really, really enjoyed having you on. And I enjoyed having you listeners listen to us rant about demon babies and whatnot, and just helping support the podcast overall. If you'd like to do more to support the podcast, you can do so by, following us on Twitter at Pod Against Evil, maybe liking us on Facebook, subscribing to us on iTunes, maybe write us one of those 5-star reviews. That usually helps out quite a lot. Just write in, maybe 5 dead baby exploding heads out of 5, whatever your rating system is. As long as it ends up with 5 stars on there, it really helps us out with visibility and all that sort of good jazz. Or if you just want to get into contact with us, geez, I'm being possessed right now. You can always ask us a question at podagainstevil@gmail.com. And with that, until next time, we are done abiding these puzzles, and we are out of here. Bye, guys!